Why do UX designers seem to make more than graphic designers? Are they really more skilled, or is there something else at play? In this video, we'll talk through the differences in salaries between graphic and UX designers, as well as the two forces negatively affecting graphic designer salaries, and I'll compare the skills required to be a graphic designer versus a UX designer. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ludovic, and I'm one of the co-founders of Kick-Ass UX. We help graphic designers level up their careers by adding UX to their skill set. So whether you want to stay in graphic design, transition to UX, or even start your own business, our mission is to help you feel more valued where you work and give you the skills to get paid more. Also, we have two quick callouts before we jump in. First, this video is not about declaring why UX designers are better, or other nonsense to justify a higher salary for UX designers. We value the contribution of both graphic designers and UX designers. This video is meant to objectively analyze the difference between the two roles and explain why UX designers make more. Second, anytime I say UX design, I also mean UX UI and product design. There is a much longer discussion about why those things are all the same thing. And this is not the video to hash out why that is. Cool, with that out of the way, let's dive in. Let's start by comparing graphic design versus UX salaries. The disparity between UX and graphic designers can be quite stark when it comes to earning potential. When you combine the data from Indeed.com and Glassdoor, graphic designers make between 36 to 104k per year, with an average of 67k. For senior graphic designers, they make between 50 to 104k with an average of 78k. By comparison, a UX designer makes between 81 to 163k per year with an average of 114k, while a senior UX designer makes between 116 to 200k with an average of 159k. Taking the averages from the same level of seniority, UX designers make 57k more per year than graphic designers. And senior UX designers make 81k more than senior graphic designers, which is more than double the salary. That is a massive difference in pay scale. Over a 10-year period, a UX designer would make 570,000 more and a senior 810,000 more. That's a freaking house. So why is there so much disparity? Well, it starts with two primary forces on graphic designers and the industry at large. The first force is a downward pressure on wages. Market saturation is at the core of this pressure. Because of the pandemic, inflation, and all the crazy stuff happening worldwide, budgets are way tighter these days. Plus, many people see graphic design just as a finishing touch, just like glitter thrown on a product to make it look nice. Because of that, it's often one of the first things that gets cut. So companies are looking for cheaper options and try to save money wherever possible, which causes them to outsource labor. Cheaper labor overseas makes it challenging for designers in expensive areas to compete on price. So much graphic design work is getting shipped out to places where it can be done for less money. And of course, more and more design students are graduating, which means more competition. And there is always someone willing to work for less. All this constant competition keeps driving the prices for graphic design in a race to the bottom. But market saturation is not the only factor causing downward pressure. Technology is also part of the equation. Platforms like Fiverr and Upwork are packed with low-cost freelancers who can be hired instantly, making outsourcing even easier. Also, design software like Canva lets non-designers whip up good enough designs, which makes anyone feel like they can replace a graphic designer. And there is generative AI, which, even at its worst right now, can crank out professional images in no time. The second force affecting graphic designers' pay is that companies don't seem to value graphic designers. They view graphic design as a commodity. Deliverables are just the visuals. This leads to companies overworking graphic designers because they see it as a lower paid skill. And of course, this leads to all the scope creep, budget cuts, lack of promotions, and all of the BS that graphic designers have to deal with daily. Basically, external forces are shoving graphic designers' salary into the ground, and internal pressure from companies is also pushing them downward. This makes graphic designers feel frustrated, stuck, overwhelmed, and like they're not valued. So they look for a way to jump ship. which may be why you're watching this video. While those forces are putting a lot of pressure on graphic design, those pressures are only slightly present from the UX side of things. And a big part of why it's only partly there is that UX isn't seen as a commodity. People have realized that good UX is a product requirement, not just a nice to have. After all, if your product is not easy to use and get value from, then you won't have a company for long. It takes a lot of strategy, research, and critical thinking to create a useful, relevant, and meaningful product. And that's hard to outsource. Finding talented hires who can help you do that for your company is also really hard. This is why companies aren't looking for new grads or other untested hires. With all the economic uncertainty, they're looking for as close to a sure thing as possible. That's part of why the entry-level UX market has been so crazy over the past few years. Ultimately, UX design isn't impacted by these forces the same way that graphic design is. But let's take this a step further and look at the skill set required for each profession so we can dig into the differences between salaries. Analyzing the differences in skill sets is one of the keys to understanding why UX designers earn more. Graphic designers focus on creating visually appealing designs that communicate a message for businesses. Their expertise lies in color theory, typography, layout, etc. Graphic designers wear two primary hats: information architect and visual designer. When you put on your information architect hat, you understand the business and what information it's trying to convey, and you simply put it down into a beautiful visual. When you wear your visual designer hat, you establish color palettes, typography, and visual hierarchy. You also create contrast and craft gorgeous visuals to support the business's goals. An argument can be made that graphic designers wear a third hat for research. While graphic designers conduct some research to create their designs and establish the design direction, it's nowhere near the depth that UX designers end up doing. On the other hand, UX designers wear 6 hats, including user researcher, business analyst, content strategist, information architect, interaction designer, and visual designer. When you wear the user researcher hat, you conduct research to better understand the customer, their goals, and motivations. Your goal is to understand the why behind the decisions. You take those insights to help fuel your design so you can create a useful, relevant, and meaningful product. When you wear the business analyst hat, you spend time understanding the business to make design choices that benefit the business's bottom line. When you put on the content strategist hat, you spend time understanding the type of content the company puts out and how to use the company's styles and tone of voice within the feature you design. When you wear the information architecture hat, you spend time understanding how the information within the product fits together. You then make meaningful connections and organize them so users can intuitively understand them. When wearing the interaction designer hat, you ensure people can use the product. You spend your time ensuring your designs are usable and clear. And finally, when you wear your visual designer hat, you make your designs beautiful. These hats combine to help you build a product that solves user problems. In other words, you create a real product that users need. As graphic designers, you create assets that augment products 90% of the time, not the product itself. While as a UX designer, you have a greater impact on the company and its bottom line. Whether you plan to transition to UX or not, if you're aiming to advance your career, knowing which skills are in demand is crucial. Adding UX skills allows you to expand your capabilities and appeal to a broader range of employers. Sticking to only visual design might limit your career growth and earning potential, especially as the demand for UX skills rises. For example, one of our students learned UX with us and applied it in a graphic design job to get a 10% increase in her salary before she even graduated from our program. This brings us to the final reason why UX designers make more. If you were to take away all of the graphic design jobs from a business, the company would still likely be able to survive. It might not look the best, and the visuals wouldn't be consistent, but if the company solves a real problem for people and businesses, those customers won't care what it looks like. Think Craigslist. It's one of the ugliest websites around, but it does the job and millions of people use it. On the other hand, if you were to remove all of the UX design jobs from a company with a digital product, you'll likely still have a product. but that product would be far less usable, more confusing, and likely cause users to not sign up or cancel their subscriptions. This is what happened to the start of the internet age. Companies hired many developers, and those developers built products that made sense to them and no one else. This created user experiences that customers disliked. UX designers saved the company a ton of money by conducting research and designing solutions that solve customer problems. Also, this assumes that the company is solving a real user business problem. But what happens if the company releases a product that doesn't do that? It would fail. UX designers help mitigate that by researching and usability testing their solutions well before they're developed and brought to the market. UX designers' work directly affects the bottom line and has a massive impact on the business. With graphic design, it's much harder to see that translation. That's why we recommend that graphic design students work with team members to see how they can tie their work to business outcomes. This helps them show their value to the business and gives them ammunition when it comes time for a pay raise. It's one of the ways you can move from just being seen as someone who creates the visuals to more of a strategic partner. It gives you a bigger seat at the table. In short, you stop competing on design deliverables and increase the value you provide businesses. So what's the ultimate answer to why UX designers make more? It's complicated. If you're looking for ways to up-level your skills so you can offer more value to businesses and make more as a designer, check out this video.